Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're talking about choosing a cart for your forest school or bushcraft session. So inevitably when you're running sessions for groups, you're going to need to bring in a lot of kit, particularly if you're one of those pop-up forest schools like I have, where you have to haul in a lot of the stuff at the beginning of the session and pack all of it out at the end as well. So rather than having to carry it all on your back or in your arms, cart can really help take the weight off, allow you to carry a lot more stuff a lot more efficiently. But there are some things to be aware of when you are looking at buying a cart, and finding the one that will fit your particular circumstances is important. So for those of you who don't have a cart or are looking to upgrade or change your cart, we're going to look at two of the main types of cart you'll find on the market, talk about the benefits and drawbacks of each one, and hopefully give you enough information to be able to make a good purchasing decision. So like I said a moment ago, broadly speaking, you will see two different types of cart on the market. Now you could use wheelbarrows or fishing barrows, and there are a lot of other wheeled contraptions you can use to bring your kit in. But I feel like for stability, for ease of use, and for being able to carry lots of stuff, four-wheeled cart is really where it's at. And so when you go and look for carts on the internet and beyond, you're typically going to find two different designs. Now there's going to be slight modifications on each one, but broadly speaking, you're going to have the garden cart. These are big, solid metal garden carts. They don't fold up, they have big wheels, and they are the workhorses. Then you have the smaller folding carts. They might have more plastic small wheels, and they can collapse down to a small size. Like I say, it's advantages to each one. So we're going to take a close look at each one, talk about what I like and don't like about it, and maybe help you come to a decision when it comes to carts. So starting with the garden cart or garden trolley. This has been with me, this particular trolley here has been with me most of my forest school career. Right when I started out, when I only had a Nissan Micra, I had a small folding wheelbarrow, and then I had to carry everything by hand. But as soon as I could find a way to fit it in, when I got a roof box on that Micra and cleared enough boot space, I immediately went out and got this trolley. And so it's really stood the test of time. It's probably coming to the end of its use now after somewhere around 6 to 8 years now. I kind of do lose track. But it has been a good workhorse, and in that time I have used and abused it quite a bit. But the typical things you'll see on these type of trolleys is they'll have an all metal construction. So all of the sides will be welded metal, be wire on the outside. A lot of them will typically have an option to have fold down sides, so you can drop it down. That's really handy because that means you can use it as a table or as a bench, whatever. You can modify it, you can carry bigger things. Most of the time I'll keep those sides up. They do usually have cotter pins holding the sides on. If you do get one of these, I would recommend zip tying them on, because those get lost really easily. Steering is through one of these handles, and when you pull the handle to one side or the other, the front wheels will turn entirely. This gives it really good maneuverability. It does work well. It's a nice height to pull at, and when I'm going down a hill, I can usually brace myself against the front of it to stop it from sliding down, and I can get a good slow descent down. Most of the garden carts will have these big pneumatic wheels. so they do cope pretty well with rough terrain. They can go over bumps and over curbs quite easily because of that large wheel radius. Now I will say these air-filled tyres are very prone to punctures, and I've had 2 punctures within a week often. I've tried a few different things. I filled it with that sealant foam that you can buy for bicycle tyres, but in the end I just went ahead and got some solid tyres that will increase the weight, and it won't be as smooth a ride, but it means I don't have to worry about punctures. They will still wear out, they do still need to be replaced, but it's a longer term thing rather than replacing several punctured tyres a week, because the places where we go, there's a lot of sharp sticks, there's a lot of thorns. It's likely to happen sooner or later. Now this has taken quite a bit of abuse over time, because when I was just starting out, I had to move quite a few big stumps around, so you can tell it's dented and broken in places, and when the wire breaks, it does leave some sharp edges. But as I said, this is near enough 8 years of use, so I'd be happy to retire this. That's a good amount of time to get out of any item of equipment. Now, the obvious big downside is that it is a big trolley. If you have a small car, it's not easy to fit. Like I said, I did fit in the Micro. I had to take this handle off every time I moved it in and out, just so it could fit in the ceiling. But for me, fitting this in, it was worth it because of the weight capacity, the strength and durability. It's just something that I knew I could use longer term, carry very heavy stuff over rougher ground and do it very well. The other thing to mention is, because of the design, because of the big wheels and everything else, it does have a very high center of gravity. So if you load it right up to the top, it is more prone to tipping than your smaller wheel trolleys. But no, I've been happy with this. Really good workhorse. So let's take a look at the folding trolley. So right away, biggest advantage of the folding trolley is it folds. This is one of the larger trolleys you can get. I believe it's something ridiculous like 125 litres capacity. No, it's quite large, but it to basically the equivalent of a small child, so it can fit on a passenger seat really easily, and you can take it anywhere. You can fit a couple of these carts in your boot, and that's the reason why I got this as well, because it can sit inside the other cart, and then I've got 2 trolleys, and so I can have an assistant help me, a helpful parent, or some of the teenagers. We can get stuff in and out twice as fast. Now I will say I haven't had this nearly as long. I hesitate to make reviews unless I have spent a good long time with it. Somewhere around a year of good hard forest school or bushcraft use is enough for me to get a feel for it. I'm not one of those people that will just pull something out of packaging and review it. I've got to have used it and honestly abused it a little bit in that time. So I've had this now for about 3-4 months, and I feel like I know enough now I can start making some comparisons, but for a longer term review of this particular cart, you may have to wait a little while. But talking about the features, so first of all, small pack size, amazing. Does collapse quite easily and does uncollapse just easily if I find the Velcro. So you just pull it out, open up the straps, push down and flop. Then you've got a little pad that goes in the base. You've got your handle here, and there we go. That is set up. and ready to go. So first thing you notice is the sides are made out of a heavy duty canvas. So it means that you're not going to have little bits falling through the gaps. You won't have poles sliding through like you might do on the cart. But then again, it's going to be more vulnerable to puncture. It's just not going to be as long lasting and as durable as metal. But fabric is a lot lighter weight. So this is somewhere around half the weight of the garden trolley. So when you are pulling it uphill on the same sort of terrain, you can feel that it's a lot easier because you're not pulling as much weight. The main structure is these hollow steel frames attached with rivets around that allow it to fold backwards and forwards. Steering at the front, like the garden trolley, this handle doesn't actually turn the wheels. The wheels turn independently, so you kind of push the handle over and then that encourages the wheels to turn. Now, it's not nearly as maneuverable as the garden trolley. It kind of wants to carry on going in a single direction and needs a bit of persuading to get the wheels to start to turn. But it still steers, still works in that respect. The wheels are solid plastic, so no chance of punctures there. So that's a pro for durability. The small wheels means it runs really smoothly. Small wheels, low weight. If you have a good, well-surfaced path, this thing just rolls beautifully. It's so easy to pull. But once you get onto rocky ground, particularly if there's any sort of lips or edging on paths or something, it does have a tendency to get caught on that. I've had a lot of trouble last week where I was it caught on a bit of path edging and then just started disappearing through the brambles. I had to physically lift it up and over, or just it won't go over bumps as easily. Additionally, this gap in between the wheel and the top of the bracket, the wheel bracket, is quite small. It's less than an inch. It's a couple of centimeters. And you do get a lot of mud and leaves that get caught in there, and you're just dragging the cart along. But because the wheels are so small and the base of the cart is so low down, it does have a much lower centre of gravity, a very deep cargo bay as well. This is a very stable cart. It's much less likely to tip over because the weight and center of gravity is lower. The handle, as we saw, it folds up and down with just a little push button there. However, I've found that it has a tendency to fold itself under a little bit of pressure. It doesn't tend to stay up when you need it to. And like I mentioned before, sometimes when I'm going down a hill, I'll be bracing on the other trolley, I'll brace against the handle so that I can control the weight of the trolley going downhill. But with this, it just slides in, so it's not nearly as comfortable running down hills. But I've been happy with this so far. The thinner steel bits around the frame and everything, the smaller wheel brackets and everything else, I feel like this cart is not going to last as long. I could be pleasantly surprised. As I said, this isn't a long-term review. This is just my impressions. My impressions is it'll keep going for a while, but it won't have near the longevity of the garden trolley. So in conclusion, I would say that if you are a a leader that doesn't have a lot of space in their car, works mostly on relatively smooth paths, doesn't have as far to go, and isn't carrying massively heavy equipment, then a folding trolley is a really good option. You can find them for relatively cheap, and they do last. A lot of forest school leaders use them, but be aware that it's not going to last years and years with weekly use. So if you're looking for something smaller, more compact and lightweight that you can just toss in the back of the car, then folding trolley is a good option. If you are carrying heavier equipment over rockier ground, are looking for durability and longevity, and you have the space and you can work with the weight of these trolleys, they are a really good long-term option. A bit more of an investment, but it pays off in the long run. And if you are somewhere in between, then unfortunately you are going to have to make your own decision. Ask a few people around you, get some more advice. But either one of these will do the job, I would say. There's always going to be disadvantages and advantages. So there we go. I hope that that's helped you in your buying decision. If you have any more questions about the carts and so on, do leave them down in the comments, and let me know if you would like a long-term review in a year or so of this cart to see how it got on. With that, I'm going to say thank you to Wellness Woodlands for again hosting me on their site to film these videos. I do help to make those videos possible, getting me out into a really peaceful location where there's the time and the space to actually put thought and effort into making these videos. So it is very much appreciated. So if you're looking for somewhere for camping and events over in the kind of Kidderminster, Bewdley area, then look no further than Wellness Woodlands. I'll leave a link down in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you would like to see more of these videos and reviews, then do subscribe, and as always, remember to make the most of every day. Catch you all next time.